Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am here to talk about Alonzo Menifield versus Dustin Jacoby. Jacoby is 35 years old, 19-7 as a pro, 19-7-1. He won Kutalaba, and he has 3 inches of height over 36-year-old Menifield, who is 14-3-1. Alonzo Menifield, he is a problem physically for any fighter he's fought. He has 10 knockouts in his 14 wins, 3 submissions, 2 of which I believe come in the UFC, and just 1 decision victory. And he has 3 losses, 1 by knockout to OSP, who is and was at the time a savvy veteran who just caught him coming in, and 2 decision losses. He lost to William Knight and Devin Clark, 2 guys that have the legs to match Alonzo Menifield that most fighters don't. So most fighters aren't going to match the physicality of Alonzo Menifield, and he generally has the harder punch than his opponent, the harder overhand punch, and he's got some good submission skills that have worked for him, again, at the UFC level. He got his most recent win over Jimmy Crute with a guillotine in round 2, a fight that was a rematch from a razor-thin draw, and Menifield was just too much for Jimmy Crute. I thought he was going to win that fight, whether it went to a decision or not, once I saw them fighting. He was just better, and he ended up getting Crute out of there. And he also tapped out Fabio Cherant with a Von Flue choke, which, say what you will about Cherant, but for a victory, that is precisely the kind of choke you want to see Alonzo Menifield working, with his physicality again. He is a guy that is 36 years old, but doesn't have too much mileage on him, certainly not compared to Jacoby. Jacoby's got a good bit better of MMA experience, but also a whole kickboxing career he had in the middle of it. And Menifield, his only real strike against his health is the OSP knockout. And that was, again, in the middle of a fight, deep into round 2, I believe. OSP caught him coming in, and OSP is one of those tricky fighters who will have his hands down and then hit you with a short hook that you never saw coming, and that's what happened. Dustin Jacoby, he is 19-7-1, 12 knockout wins for Jacoby, which is nice, and he's gotten knockout wins as of late. His last 2 wins, I believe, are first-rounders against Kennedy Nzechukwu and Da Un Jung, who had a beautiful knockout over Kennedy Nzechukwu. But Jacoby knocked them both out in round 1. In between those fights, though, he lost 2 decisions to Khalil Roundtree and Azamat Murzakanov. The Roundtree fight I thought was bad. I thought Jacoby won that fight, first 2 rounds. And the Azamat Murzakanov fight, I thought Jacoby lost the first 2 rounds pretty clearly. But he still looked okay. He did well in round 3, and that was after getting roughed up by Murzakanov. Otherwise, his finish losses, he's got 1 by knockout, and that was the King Mo Lawal on the ground, national champion wrestler. And the 2 submission losses are to John Salter and Chris Camozzi, 2 grapplers, savvier grapplers than Alonzo Menifield, who is much more reliant on strength than those guys. So those were just earlier matchups in his career, in his first run in the UFC against some dangerous guys. And since then, Jacoby, while he hasn't looked like a wizard on the ground, he's generally kept himself safe. And here in this fight, I expect Jacoby to win. I think Alonzo Menifield does win the physicality battle. If he's able to make this a phone booth fight, he's going to bully around Jacoby. But I like Jacoby striking on the outside, of course, and I like his movement. He doesn't have reach, but he's got 3 inches of height. And I think he would be winning the kicking battle. And considering his punches, I think he'll be winning the striking battle overall. I think Jacoby has the better health as a fighter, despite having more mileage and more knockout losses in kickboxing, of course, that I didn't talk about. I still trust his health more than Menifield. And I think Alonzo Menifield will have a difficult time trying to make this a grappling match against Jacoby. And if he does, I expect it to be a grueling battle and one that costs him energy and only makes the striking a little easier for Jacoby anyway. So Jacoby is the pick. I have him winning by decision, but a knockout wouldn't surprise me again. And I will wait to see if there are any prop bets that jump out to me, but as of now, I haven't bet on this. Minus 270, I am not interested. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit. Check out my other videos.